Hello again! So today's video is going to come to you in a couple parts because they're all relatively short and I don't feel like making separate videos for them all. So here goes nothing. So part one is I'm babysitting a really cute puppy and I am shamelessly putting him in this video and he's not happy about it. But I love him, so it's okay. So yeah, there's a puppy running around my room. So if randomly I start looking at something else, it's probably him trying to make sure he doesn't get into shit. The actual first part is a book haul. Except not, because I didn't buy any books in the month of August, and I am so proud of myself. I mean, I didn't go to the bookstore as much as I usually do, because it just hasn't worked out, and I don't really live near a bookstore super close anymore. So that's been helpful. But the few times I have gone into the bookstore, there's just been nothing that's really interested me. And so I just haven't bought anything, and I am so proud because I'm sure a lot of you out there had the same problem when you started your booktube channel, started buying all of the books. And I started mine in January, and since then I have gained so many new books, and I have so many that I haven't read. Squeaking is the dog in the background. He found a squeaky toy. So we're just gonna roll with it because I don't feel like stopping filming. But yeah, so I'm really proud of myself for not buying many books this month because I still have so many that are taunting me from my shelves that I really need to read and I just haven't gotten around to yet. Part two is my wrap up from August, and I don't actually have the physical books for most of them that I read because I borrowed them like a responsible person rather than just buying them. And the first book I read was Wicked Lovelies by Melissa Marr. So this is a book about Ashlyn, at least I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably wrong, but this is part of the reason I don't like fantasies, is they go with these really weird names and I can never figure out how to pronounce them. And so in my head it's just kind of overlaid by blah blah, and then I try to talk to people about it. I have no idea how to pronounce these names, and so it's just awful. But anyway, Ashlyn is able to see fairies, and she kind of has some rules that she's been following since she was a kid about not interacting with them. But then the Summer King decides that he is interested in her, and everything kind of goes off from there. This is the first book in a series, but I probably won't continue with the series for a while at least. I liked the book, but I just have so many other things I want to read right now. Like, for example, the series I'm reading right now, which is actually the next couple books I read. So the next book I read was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I've got some issues with this book. I watched Jeff over at Stakula's review of Throne of Glass before I didn't think I was going to read the book, to be honest. It just didn't sound super interesting. Like, it sounded good, but just I have so many things on my shelves that I need to read instead that I was like, meh, I can wait on it. And so I watched his video, which is really long, but I would not have guessed based on just me watching it. After I finished, I was like, oh, that was a long video. But it was so great because Jeff's super entertaining. But there were some things that he pointed out that when I did read the book like a month later, I kind of noticed them more than I think I probably would have had I not watched his video. Because I'm not the most observant reader, and there's a lot of things in books that I don't notice until somebody else points them out, and then I go, oh yeah, I didn't see that. So there are some things that he pointed out that I don't know would have bothered me had I not already known about it going in. So be cautious. I will link his video down below because you definitely should watch it, especially if you have read Throne of Glass, because it's great and I love Jeff. And I do have a non-spoiler review of this on my blog, which I will leave linked down below. That was actually going to be the next part, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in here. I have a blog now, and I have a couple reviews up on there. I don't have a lot of content, and I don't have an upload schedule for it. Just like my videos, I kind of do them when I feel like I have something to say. So if you want to check that out, I will leave links down below. So after Throne of Glass, I went straight into The Assassin's Blade because I'm reading them in publication order. Because I figured like that's probably the best way to do it. The Assassin's Blade is not the second book for those of you who are not familiar. They are the prequel novellas for the Throne of Glass series. There are 5 novellas and I loved them because a lot of the issues I had with the first book kind of got resolved in this. I feel like her writing style was just much more developed, and I feel like Selena's character really grew and you actually kind of got to see her as she was supposed to be. If you read my review, or even a lot of criticisms of Throne of Glass, Selena is supposed to be an assassin and she just doesn't feel like one in Throne of Glass. She just feels very flat, like teenage girl who's just sad that she can't get what she wants. And I was just like, Selena! Ugh. But she actually felt like an assassin in the Assassin's Blade, which I loved. So that got resolved and I loved it so much more than Throne of Glass, just because it was so much more action-packed and I felt like it was much faster paced. And Throne of Glass I feel like just dragged things out forever when she really didn't need to. And the last book I read in August was not Crown of Midnight, because I read the Assassin's Blade towards the end of August. And like I said earlier, I was borrowing these from a friend, Alexis over at Rocket Reads. I know you're all shocked because she's like my only real person friend. But I was not able to get Crown of Midnight from her right away after finishing the Assassin's Blade. I got it a couple days after. But in the meantime, I decided to actually read a book that I bought a while ago off my shelves, just a short one. And that book was The Red Notebook by Antoine Lorraine. And this book was actually translated from French, and it takes place in Paris. So there's a lot of French words in here, which I actually kind of speak French. It took it for a while. I've lost most of it, so I don't actually speak French. But there's some French words that they retained in here and I was like, I know what that means! And it was great. It was a good moment for me because I don't get those a lot with French. Most of the time I'm like, I have no idea. So that was fun. But this book was different than I was expecting. It kind of sounded like it was going to be like light, fluffy. And the first page, she gets mugged. Didn't see that coming, so. But I did like it. It's a short read. It's like 150 pages. It's really quick. I read it in like a couple hours. Yeah, it was good though, and I liked it. And I'm glad that I finally got around to reading it because it's been sitting there for months. So part 3 is I don't typically do TBRs, but since I'm kind of in the middle of the series, and you probably guessed this already based on the books I read in August, I am currently reading Heir of Fire. Yes, I did already finish Crown of Midnight. I will talk about that another time. But I'm about halfway through right now, roughly. And I am loving it so far. So we'll see if this continues to be super great. This month I am also planning on reading Queen of Shadows because, you know, gotta finish the series and it just came out. And I'm super excited about it. Plus, Sarah J. Maas actually came to my local bookstore and I was not able to go because of work, but because I hadn't finished Heir of Fire yet, I was kind of okay with it because I was afraid somebody was going to spoil this book for me. Because I have been told that the synopsis contains major spoilers for the end of Heir of Fire, so I have been avoiding it, and I haven't actually looked at it at all, but they had extra copies that she had signed in the store, and so I have a signed copy of Queen of Shadows, and I am so excited about it. But unfortunately, this also means that I have to buy the rest of the series now at some point, and they have to be in hardcover. So that's gonna be fun to make these match. But other than that, I have no idea what I'm gonna be reading this month, so we will see. And that's really all I have for you today. So if you have read any of the books that I talked about, leave me a comment down below. If you spoil Queen of Shadows for me, I will hurt you. I have been avoiding it so well so far. So please don't ruin it for me. Please don't be that person. I'm gonna go continue reading Heir of Fire now so that I can get to Queen of Shadows before somebody spoils it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. This is the cause of all the squeaking. It has a squeaker in it and he loves it. He's not gonna come say bye. I tried.